Greetings. My name is Ralph E. Smith. Welcome to this edition of Community, Youth, and You. Counting all my blessings and not my problems. I am so blessed to be able to have this opportunity to speak with you, my listeners around the world, because every day is a blessing. And I trust and hope that you and your family are blessed as well. Today we start with some positive breaking news in New York State. As many of you may know, the Democratic National Convention is this week, starting Monday. Well, the breaking news is that Hillary Clinton is now being supported by a man who is totally upset with the nonsense that's being spoken by Donald Trump. Mr. Michael Bloomberg supports Hillary Clinton, and he will be speaking at the DNC this week. So keep it locked in. Don't change that dial. This week is going to be very positive and really much needed in America, because I don't know about you, but if you even turned on the what's that thing, the Republican National Convention, if you turn that on for even a minute, it might have made you a little bit sick. This week, the Democratic National Convention is going to have a lot of speakers, a lot of positive energy. And of course, you may know by now it's taking place at the Wells Fargo Center in the great city of Philadelphia. And for some people that have been somehow confused or are really not sure why Black Lives Matter, tune in again this week to the Democratic National Convention, because representatives and mothers of Black Lives Matter will be speaking. And they'll be speaking about the deaths. They'll be speaking about the lives of Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, and Michael Brown, just to name a few. Black Lives Matter is not saying that only Black Lives Matter. Of course not. Black Lives Matter was formed because in America there seems to be some type of academic, there seems to be some type of racial problem going back to killing black men in the streets. So again, it's not even just about police killing unarmed black men. And we're not talking about all police, obviously. We're just talking about a few bad police. 99%, and we do believe this, 99% of police officers do a great job. We're only really talking about that 1% that are killing young black men and black people in the streets. And with that being said, I mean, that's really one of the main reasons why there is a movement. And that movement, again, is called Black Lives Matter. And with that being said, there also has to be a movement to equally apply pressure to when there is black to black crime. Not black on black crime or I mean, there is no such thing as like black on black crime, white on white crime. I mean, the bottom line is what we do to each other is in horrific negative ways is just that. So we have to really take a look at what goes on in communities of color, what goes on in any of our communities, and we have to stop this violence that we do to each other. And that's not even just physical violence, but that's mental violence. I mean, the words that come out of our mouths, how we speak to each other. I mean, what's wrong with saying, hey, good afternoon, how you doing, brother? How you doing, sister? And when I say it like that, that person doesn't have to be black. That person doesn't have to be white. Hey, what's going on? How you doing, brother? What's happening, sister? Well, whatever happened to, does anybody remember the days after 9/11 in New York City? I remember it very well because at that time, I was working in actually two different departments. I was working in the NYPD and I was working in correction. And one of the things that I do remember is I remember how graceful, how peaceful, how polite people were on the streets of New York. People were so polite. I mean, and this was days after. I mean, I was saying to myself, in the middle of this tragedy, people are talking to each other like with really mad respect. Oh, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Oh, can I get the door for you? I mean, I just saw this for at least maybe about 6 months after 9/11. And then I started to see something start changing. I started to see, I mean, I don't want to say it this way, so I'll just keep it real. We forgot what brought us together. I mean, when I'm talking about, I remember how peaceful people were and how polite and pleasant people were after 9/11. And it seems shortly after, maybe about 6 months afterwards, it was business as usual. You had to kind of watch yourself when you cross the street, and we have to get back to treating each other like human beings, not treating each other like black or white or Hispanic or Mexican or Muslim, not treating each other by categories, not treating each other by what we look like or what our religious or spiritual beliefs may be. We have to get back to treating each other like human beings, And with that being said, getting back to treating people like human beings is very, very important. I'm just going to touch bases on this topic just for 1 second. You would think that if you committed some form of, what do they call that again? Plagiarism, you might want to apologize and say, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't know it. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. At least just offer an apology. You know what I'm talking about. Boy, that Republican National Convention, boy, whoa. I mean, it's not just me saying this. Look, when you put these speeches together, of course, I'm talking about Michelle Obama, Miss Michelle Obama, the wife of the president. I give Miss Michelle Obama and Mr. Barack Obama, President of the United States, the highest amount of respect as I refer to them. Because for 8 years, they've been totally disrespected by the Republican Party. Have you taken a look at these two videos back to back and face to face? I mean, it's all over the internet right about now. Comparing Michelle Obama's 2008 presentation, graceful presentation, to Mrs. Trump's presentation. And the thing that really kind of gets a tiny bit under my skin, and then I just pray on it, and then God says, it's all good, I'm going to work that out too, is that plagiarism is like when you just basically, she just lifted these lines. She just like said, blah, 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 blah. She said everything that Michelle Obama said, and it's also been said that copying somebody is the greatest form of flattery. Oh, don't get me started now, doggone it. Are you tuned in? So, if you're gonna get up there and you're not exactly sure what to do, well, let me copy from the best. Woo! Hey, Michelle Obama got it going on. because you got up there and said line for line what Michelle Obama said, and then when you got caught, woo, thank God for technology. When you got caught, the only thing you could say is, well, I wrote it. Well, you said you wrote it, but you really didn't write it. It was your speech writers that wrote it. And for some strange reason, there's no apology given to the First Lady of the United States of America. No apology, no nothing. Well, you know what? That's just a sign of things to come if you don't get out there and vote. You don't get out there and vote. And I'm talking about this on a lot of different levels. I heard, if you watched a little bit of that Republican National Convention, that RNC thing, they would make you think that we were living in a state of no laws and wild, wild west. And that is so untrue. Anybody that knows anything about law enforcement, anybody that's been reading the simple newspapers, first year politician would know that across the United States, crime is down. Crime is down. So now why would you get out there and say, oh, we have to bring law back to the lawless land and make America great again? Well, there's such a thing called code words. You follow what I'm saying? Code words. And we don't have to make America great again as if you're trying to say that America is not great. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you have a habit of disrespecting certain things about America, or maybe about the black president himself, and even about veterans. I mean, you got up there and disrespected John McCain, I think it was, but I don't know. I don't understand this. But what I do understand is that there's some big heavy political help coming to help Hillary Clinton. And we at Guardianchronicle.com are so happy that Mr. Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City, billionaire and a very positive man, is coming to the aid to help Hillary Clinton because, quote unquote, he is tired of the negative campaign of Donald Trump. Enough said. Tune in this week to the Democratic National Convention in the great city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Yes, that is such an amazing, beautiful thing. And I'm saying we at the Guardian Chronicle, but you know what? I think the nation should be very, very, not just happy, but, I'm just saying to myself, look, Michael Bloomberg, he could have sat in the corner. He could have, sat back and said, hey, well, whatever. He's stepping up to the plate because he also sees something wrong. He sees something wrong. Tune in this week to the National Democratic Convention because there are going to be some heavy hitters, and we're going to try to keep America great, not just make America great. So disrespectful, this Republican National Convention. Oh my God. Yes, God is very important. And that's another thing. We need to bring God back into a lot of these things. When we talk about community relations, now we're going to talk a little bit about the police and community relations around the United States. I really feel, having been a veteran of the law enforcement department, a person who's worked in correction and the police department, I feel that at roll call is where a lot of the tension could be resolved, and at roll call, you don't want to just give out the message of well, do this, do that, and this is your sector. I have to admit, because especially towards the end of my career, and I don't know how many officers out there can relate to what I'm saying. I'm sure many can. I love to be on time and actually ahead of time when for example, Captain Maintain, I'll just call him by that name. We used to have like a captain. Let's say you have a Captain Maintain. A Captain Maintain, and wait a minute, I say to myself, wait a minute, Captain Maintain is going to be at roll call. He's addressing roll call. I'm going to be at least 10 minutes early because he always has something positive to say. Officers, I want you to have a nice holiday. I know that you're working this holiday. Your families love you. We love you. Go out there, do a good job. The bottom line is Captain Maintain always has something positive to say to you. Some captains, some tour commanders, I don't know though. I'm not saying I was always late. I was just the opposite. Especially when I first started working in law enforcement, I used to get to work. Look, you got to do what you got to do when you got to do it. So I used to get to work actually about an hour to an hour and a half ahead of time, because I still had that, what do you call that thing? Rookie on my back, But when I knew it was going to just be a beat up roll call, blah, 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 just go take your tour or just go do that sector or whatever the case may be. I was there physically, but I mentally tuned out. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? See, so lots of times I think a lot of these problems, some of these problems can be alleviated if the tour, if the roll call is more than just a blanket set of orders that you're just issuing to robots, if you will. You're talking to people who are going out to work in these prisons, who are going out to work in these streets. And you need to kind of like maybe I think I'm not even saying start with prayer, because you might say, well, prayer and separation of state, and then we get into all this other type of nonsense. Don't even call it prayer. Start with a moment of meditation. The Creator who made us all to be representatives of your great power, give us the ability to do our jobs in a productive, positive way that brings honor and respect to you, the Creator, and to our mission to make our communities safer and stronger. And you don't even have to say amen, but just thank you. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't care really how you want to look at this. You got to really, we have to get back to thanking and reaching out to the creative spirit that lives in each one of us. You could be a police officer, a correction officer, FBI, CIA, DEA, Boy Scouts, a leader, a teacher, fire department, white, black, Hispanic, or whatever color or whatever spirituality. But you know what? The bottom line is there's a creator that made man, and I don't care what you say. I'm saying it like that. I do care. I'm not disrespecting what you say. But the bottom line is God has been so great in my life. Oh, boy. That I am just so grateful to be alive today, to talk with you, that I have to acknowledge God in everything I do. And with that being said, I am just so grateful to God for everything. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk to you today. I am grateful, and having a grateful spirit will help you accomplish any goals that you have. Keep it locked in. Don't change that dial. You're listening to Guardianchronicle.com, and my name is Ralph E. Smith. Very, very grateful just to be here today to talk with you. Don't change the dial. Keep it locked in. We're going to have some more talk, some more community, youth, and you right after this music break.
What joy it brings.
You're listening to Guardianchronicle.com. Community, youth, you, and law enforcement with your host, Ralph E. Smith. I want to thank you very much for bringing it back and staying with me. Keep it locked in at the place where nobody does it better, because we talk politics, we talk you, we talk about things that matter to you and your family at Guardianchronicle.com. Community, youth, and you. Doctor's duty to young black men. Now, this is a very interesting article that's in the Daily News, page 33. Doctor's duty to young black men. A black man is pulled over at 9 p.m. after a police officer notices that his car tail light is out. The man places his hands visibly on the steering wheel and waits for the officer to walk up to his car. After being asked to provide his license and registration, he tells the police officer that he stores a licensed firearm in his glove compartment, where he also keeps his registration. What happens next? The pressing social issue with which many people in this country are grappling with is the reality that in this encounter, it could have done or could have gone differently. It could have had a profound, different ending depending solely on whether the driver is black or white, male or female, young or old, despite the fact that most of our police officers serve honorably and have good intentions. And within this profoundly consequential social problem, there is also a pressing medical issue that must be addressed now. What is this physician's role in protecting his or her high-risk patients from injury or death during encounters with police officers? In fulfillment of our oath, we tell people not to smoke or binge drink or have unprotected sex. We advise patients on their diet. If we care about public health, we have a duty here too. For many black men, including those of us who are educated, have families, and work in stable jobs. It is a living reality that we are more likely to be injured or killed in an encounter with a police officer than our non-black friends and co-workers. We know through lived experience that interactions with police are frequently tense and fraught. The fact that most incidents of violence-related injury or death experienced by black men are caused by other black men does not make the incidents of injury or death during police encounters any more or less tragic. Both are tragedies. The factors contributing to this reality straddles may create high rates of violent crime committed by black males seem like they're very, very high when you compare that to other demographic groups. Conscious and unconscious racism and bias that infiltrates the minds of people, non-black and black alike, are the profound social and health consequences that result from a cocktail of poverty, poor education, limited economic opportunity, and degradation of the family. National efforts to eliminate the root of these social problems include education reforms that boost retention and academic attainment, and employment for reforms that enhance job opportunities and the prospect of economic stability. These are the sustainable paths towards lasting solutions, but this process takes time. Meanwhile, the heightened risk of injury and death that black males and other high-risk groups face during police encounters are being realized right here and right now. And again, this is on page 33 of the New York Daily News by Dr. Joseph Lapato and Dr. Joseph Revenell. Now, getting right back to the article. For these reasons, we propose that physicians provide preventative health counseling for police encounters when caring for high-risk black males and other high-risk groups. This counseling, which is similar in nature to preventative counseling that physicians currently provide about wearing seatbelts and using condoms and screening for domestic violence, should focus on 3 strategies that we believe reduce the risk of injury or death during police encounters. Number 1, doctors should counsel high-risk black men about basic preventative behaviors to employ during encounters with police officers. Recognizing that most police officers are trustworthy and have good intentions, but work in a dangerous occupation. For example, when pulled over, high-risk black men should consider always placing both hands on the steering wheel and keeping them visible at all times, avoid sudden movements, and communicating intentions to the police before moving or acting. And number 2, doctors should counsel black men about the risk of possessing a firearm. Studies show that possessing a firearm increases the risk of suicide or homicide, and we believe that black males and other individuals at high risk of being perceived as a threat by police officers should also consider that possessing a firearm may amplify this perception, therefore making the risk of possession even greater. And number 3, doctors should counsel black males to consider recording all police encounters, if doing so can be done safely, or requesting that individuals nearby record the encounter. This provides accountability and a record of events, and it also helps to remedy a major problem: data and the loss of data. We need to have data about police encounters and police-related injury or death. We are in no way suggesting that the recent tragic police-involved deaths were the results of the victim's failure to implement the strategies outlined above, nor do we detract from the honorable service of police officers. Rather, we believe all doctors have a professional responsibility to do everything in their power to help save lives. Dr. Lapato is an assistant professor of medicine at the David Griffin School of Medicine at UCLA and a professor at the NYU School of Medicine. And Dr. Ravenel is an assistant professor of medicine at NYU School of Medicine as well. These are doctors that are talking about what black men need to do to stay alive. These are doctors who care about the current, growing, escalating problems in America. These are doctors who care. And again, you can go to the Daily News, page 33, to read more about doctors' duty to young black men. And we want to salute the basketball players with the WNBA who are standing up for their right to voice their political opinion when they were wearing t-shirts that said Black Lives Matter. They were fined originally, and then that fine was changed and turned around. And we want to salute them for standing up. We need more athletes to stand up and take a stand. And don't just go out there and get paid for what you do. You got skills, but where are your social skills? Where are your political social skills? Like Adam Clayton Powell Jr. used to say, use the power that's in your hands to get what you want. Come on now, NBA players, sports figures. You're making all this money. You're doing what you got to do. Use that power that you have to continue to take a stand on what's going on with your fans, what's going on in the communities where you play at, where you make your living at. This is Ralph Smith with the Guardianchronicle.com, community, youth, and law enforcement, saying I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you, for listening, and I am so grateful for life. I am really, really so grateful. We want you to stay tuned. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back with some words from a great book. A great book. And I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but I'm going to tell you, this man, he talks about acting like a success and thinking like a success. You know who I'm talking about. If you don't, that's why you need to stay tuned in to Guardianchronicle.com. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Yeah. You're listening to Guardianchronicle.com. And my name is Ralph E. Smith. What are you grateful for in life? Are you grateful just to be up? Are you grateful to be moving? Are you grateful for today? Are you grateful because you woke up? I'll tell you, having a grateful spirit can help you obtain anything in life. I know about that. I know about having a grateful spirit, and I'm so grateful to God. So grateful to be in the land of the living. You're listening to Guardianchronicle.com.
We just want to have a little worship over here before we go on with the program. Come on, family, sing it with me. Oh. See if you are real. Let me touch you and see if you are real. Even though I know my heart, your hands can heal. But sometimes I get discouraged, and I need your strength and shield. Jesus, let me touch you, see if you are real. Sometimes to me you seem so far away, and I wonder how to if I can touch, tell them that.
But if I can touch the hem of your garment,
Power.
power, I know you can reach. Jesus, let me touch you and see if you are real.
When I'm
Welcome back to Guardianchronicle.com. My name is Ralph E. Smith. We're going to take a look at that great book that I told you about. Are you ready? Act like a success. Think like a success. Discovering your gift through the way to life's riches by Steve Harvey. Oh my goodness, this is such a great book. Today we're going to deal with chapter 15. Healing your haters through success. I just love that. Oh, the Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. In your quest to become successful and to be more, have more, enjoy more, there's going to be opposition. Sad to say, but opposition is not always just circumstances. And lots of times it's other people. And those people show up as haters. Every time you make a decision to do more, be more, want more, here comes opposition. The good news, I say again, the good news is that there is no progress without it. There's no need to address the opposition because it will be ongoing. The only cure for enemies is your success. Your first thought might be, I could really set them straight. Yes, you could. But in order to set them straight, you have to interrupt your climb to do so. My father told me, never take my foot off a ladder to kick at someone who is kicking at me. When I did that, I could no longer be climbing. While they're kicking, my father told me I should keep on stepping. They can only kick one time. But if I continue to climb, they'll be left behind. And trying to hurt me, to impede my progress, they would get left behind because they allowed themselves to get sidetracked from their agenda. Look at success as being a ladder. Every time you step up one rung on the ladder, you have to lift up 1 foot higher than the other. If you stop to address a foe, you're not rising your foot to the next level. You're now spending time with a person who is not a decision maker, a power broker, a shaker, or a mover. They're merely a hater. Whoa. Hater, that's all they are. There is one goal. There is only one goal. Their goal is to impede your progress. That's to stop you, homie. To stop you, sister. I just added that part in there. And at that moment, you stop to address them. You have stopped to help them accomplish it. You can't afford to spend a single day engaging with that kind of energy. No one I know who is serious about business addresses the opposition. They don't have time. They don't have time. You hear me? I just added that part too. In all of this space, enemies have no significant value anywhere. No advertiser says, wait a minute, we're going to advertise here, but let's check what the haters say. No one prints a book and says, hey, we're about to publish this book, but oh no, wait a minute, before we do so, let's check and see what the haters are reading. No one who is looking to fill a position says, hey, we're looking for the haters. We've got a high-paying hater position job available. If you understand people of power, decision makers, power brokers, shakers and movers, you know that they don't even know the haters exist. So why should you? My daddy used to always tell me, son, don't give them a pick to stick you with. One time I was going through something and Tyler Perry called me. Tyler said, Steve, when they blog about you, it's just a blog. If you respond, it's a press conference. Ooh, that's heavy. That's heavy. You don't have time for small people. You don't have time for the opposition. Anyway, you want to look at this? The only way to heal a hater is through success. And at no point in time does it serve you any good to address a hater in any shape, form, or fashion. You are merely putting a spotlight on a dull person. You are giving shine to a person who has no brilliance. I've learned self-restraint by observing our president. I've never seen a man more noble or regal in the face of adversity. And of course, you know he's talking about President Mr. Barack Obama. I just added that part too. He could stop and address it all, but he doesn't. He just keeps plodding along with the job of being the president in the United States of America. He is the president in face of intense adversity. We can say the same thing about Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., John F. Kennedy, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa. The Reverend Billy Graham has a wonderful book titled Nearing Home. This man dedicated his life to teaching people righteousness and the Word of God, yet there are still people who criticize him. Throughout history, you can see examples of people who have been attacked, but they keep putting one foot above the next and continuing to climb up to the next rung. You don't have the time, nor can you expend the energy to address the opposition. They have no power over you unless you give it to them. Martin Luther King Jr. said something that I will always remember. He said, "A man can't ride your back unless it's bent. Don't bend over. Stay tall. Keep on climbing. Keep on climbing." And that's on page 194. Act like a success. Think like a success. Discovering your gift and the way to life's riches by Mr. Steve Harvey. #1 New York Times bestseller. And it's definitely a book that you will hear about every Sunday here at Community Youth U and Law Enforcement. Thank you very much for tuning in to this segment of Community Youth and You and Law Enforcement. It's a pleasure, it's an honor to speak with you, to go over some of the serious concerns that affect our community, our neighborhoods, and ultimately our world. Hopefully, you will say to yourself that you can do it and you have the power to get up each and every day to accomplish your dreams, to accomplish your goals. Don't let anything stop you from doing what you have to do. Don't let anything deter you from doing what you were born to do. You were born to be great. You are headed for greatness. Stay focused, keep your eyes on God, and know that you can make it if you walk by faith and not by sight. My name is Ralph E. Smith. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition. Until we meet again, God bless. Remember, God loves you. Stop putting off that home repair project. Call Ralph's Handyman Service. Ralph's Handyman Service can fix any project, from a small project to a big project. Kitchens, baths, and all renovations. Call 845-337-7838. Once again, That's 845-337-7838. Ralph's Handyman Service. Professional repair with professional attitude will make your home shine. Call Ralph's Handyman Service at area code 845-337-7838. And let them know that you heard at Guardian Chronicle that Ralph's Handyman Service is #1 for your home. A community service produced by Guardianchronicle.com.